second round of the third Southern Utah Online Locals. So today we have the same deck from last time, which is the Eldlich Invoke deck that I was playing. Sorry, not Invoked, Eldlich Lightsworn deck that I was playing. And up at the top, we are playing against Dinosaurs. And this is with the new Echo cards, so he is playing the Argosaur, or the little lizard dude. And I believe he won the die roll, so he's going to be taking first. So before we start, I do want to mention I do have a Discord, so you can go ahead and join that in the description of any of my videos. It'll be at the top of the description. And hopefully at some point, we're going to be doing a tournament on there. So, anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So he starts off with a Fossil Dig and searches for Oviraptor, then uses Oviraptor to add Baby Ceratosaurus, and then he uses Miscellaneousaurus to discard itself, and so his Dinosaur unaffected, and then he uses its secondary effect to banish to special Argosaur from the deck. Argosaur's effect, is it Argosaur or Argo? Arcosaur. Anyways, it's going to go ahead and pop Baby Ceratosaurus, which is going to search for Double Evolution Pill, and then special summon Giant Rex from the deck. He's going to then overlay for a copy of Dolka, and then he's going to be using the Double Evolution Pill to go ahead and summon a Overtext Coatless. Then he passes his turn, I draw for turn, and I have quite a bit of options here, but I go ahead and I start off by setting the Eldland and then going with a Jackalope to go ahead and hit a card. It hits my Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, which is fine, and then I use Magician's Souls to go ahead and send Apprentice Illusion Magician, and then I believe that looks like I use Eldland to go ahead and pay 8 to search for the Eldlich, the Golden Lord. He's letting all of this go through, which is really interesting. I guess maybe like if he kills this with Coatless, I can still float into something, so I think that's why he's not really choosing to negate anything here. Then I use Souls to send the Eldland to the grave to draw a card. He hits that with the Dolka, so I do lose 2 cards out of that, but I do use the Eldland to go ahead and send Hakero so I can get a plus in the end phase. Then I can use Scarlet Sanguine to set Conquistador, which is a free pop. And then I use the Golden Lord's effect to send it in the Scarlet Sanguine. And I'm basically forcing out the Dolka here. So I target the Dolka to send it to grave, and he's obviously going to be negating that. Then I use the Eldlich, the Golden Lord's effect to send my Conquistador to the grave, summon itself, gain 1,000, and I use Jackalope to kill the Arcosaur, and I use the Eldlich to kill the Coatless. And then at this point, I go ahead and go into main phase 2, set Golden Land forever, and then at end phase, everything gets to replenish itself. I get a Scarlet Sanguine and a White Destiny to my field. He draws for turn, drawing into a Jet Synchron. He can normal Jet Synchron, and then he's going to turn them into a Fibrax, which I'm going to be negating the effect with my Golden Land forever, tributing my Golden Lord. And at this point, he can't really do anything, so he passes his turn. I use Scarlet Sanguine in the end phase to set a Golden Land forever. And then I go ahead and I use the Elixir of White Destiny to summon a zombie from my grave. I can only summon zombies for the rest of the turn, but then it's a new turn, so it doesn't matter. I go into Phoenix just to get some extra damage, and then I go ahead and use the Eldlich, the Golden Lord, to summon itself. Gain 1,000, it's at 35, and I attack directly for 19 as well as 3,500. Which will put him down to only 1,800 life points. Then I use Scarlet Sanguine to special summon a zombie monster from my deck or grave, and at that point it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which position it is, it just summons them to the field. Doesn't matter which position, so I definitely can get the game there. So we go into game number 2. He opts to go first, obviously. So yeah, then he's going to be starting off with a Arcosaurs and use the effect, which I'm going to hit with an Impermanence. He chains or not chains, but he uses the Truthing Lithosogem to destroy both the Arcosaur as well as the Petit Pteranodon. He can summon itself. Then he uses it to summon the Oviraptor from the deck. Oviraptor is going to search for Miscellaneousaurus, which gets pitched here, and then he's going to be using the secondary effect to summon a Dino from deck. Banishing 2, he summons the Baby Ceratosaurus. Then Ovi's effect is going to trigger popping the Baby, special summoning Petite, and the Baby triggers to summon Aolo from the deck. Then he uses the Oviraptor and Aolo into a Halki Fibrax. Actually, I think he changes his materials here. Uses the big True King guy, and then he uses summons the Halki Fibrax, which summons O-Lion, and then he can link off. I believe he makes Herald here, And then he uses the Hauki Fibrax as well as the token summon from O-Lion to get into a Rorodon, which gives him 3 more tokens. He tributes 2 for another O-Lion from the deck, and then he synchros for 5 into an Excel Synchron, which sends Jet Synchron to the grave. Then he synchros for 8 because the Excel Synchron lost a level due to its own effect, into an Omega, which is going to be hitting a card out of my hand. He hits the Conquistador out of my hand, and he sets a Call by the Grave, and he is an Ash as well as the Arclight, so he does have 3 forms of disruption, which is pretty good here. So I start off with an Eldland, pay 8, and he's going to hit an Ash with it, which is fine. I set a Conquistador as well as a Hakero, and then I could use this Charge of the Light Brigade, but I'm not sure actually about this ruling. I believe that the cards sent to the, because it does send for cost, which is a really interesting thing here. Obviously, I can pay the cost to search for a Lightsworn card, so I think that it is a legal activation of Charge of the Light Brigade if I do. I wasn't sure, so I decided to opt to not activate it just because I didn't want it to be an illegal activation, because it does send for cost, and since Herald of the Arclight sends any monster sent from the main deck to the grave is banished instead, if I can't fulfill this cost, meaning if it's possible for me to banish a monster, then I can activate it. I believe that I can activate it like legally, but I wasn't like 100% on it, so I just decided to not use it. Just because I wasn't sure if I could fulfill the cost of this because the cards could get banished. So that's why I didn't use it. But I don't know. I'm not exactly 100% on that ruling. I believe I can. Like, it's pretty likely that I can, but I just didn't want to test it or whatever. Omega's going to come back here, which gives me back the Conquistador. He goes on a battle, hits me for 21 as well as 28, so leaving me down to 2,300 life points. And then he goes ahead in main phase 2. I believe he actually could have won here somehow. See if I can figure it out really quick. He could definitely have used Jet Synchron, I know that, to bring itself back, since it's just a once per turn effect. I'm not 100% here. I definitely think that there is a way to do it. He maybe could have made something with the Arclight and the Jet Synchron, since it would be a 5. I definitely think he can maybe go for Hyper Librarian, which is 2,400. I think that's a way he could have done it, but obviously I could have protected myself with the Hakero or the Conquistador in that case. So I'm going to be drawing for turn, drawing into Raiden. He uses the Omega to send back the Miscellaneous Source to the grave due to its own effect. I pay 8 to search for Eldland, searching for Eldlich the Golden Lord, and at this point he uses Omega, and of course he hits my Golden Lord out of my hand, so that sucks. I use Radiant here. Since it's an effect, I can definitely activate this under the Herald of the Arclight. It's just my monsters get banished, but in either case I didn't banish monsters anyways. I can use my Radiant to go ahead and kill the Herald of the Arclight. Then my Elixir of the Black Awakening is going to set the Golden Lamp forever, and Elixir of the Scarlet Sanguine is going to be setting Guardian from the field. So I definitely should have just used the Guardian or the Church of the Light Brigade to see if I can hit a Golden Lord or something. I didn't because I wasn't really thinking about it. He draws for turn. I use Hakero just to summon itself as a free card, just because I need the summon. Eldlich comes back to my hand. Then O-Lion gets to be summoned here because you can normal summon it by banishing one from the graveyard. And then he's going to be tributing it with Aurorodon to destroy a card on the field. And then O-Lion's going to give him a token. Jet Synchron gets summoned here by just discarding the Call by the Grave. And then I believe he can make another 4 Synchro here. He does banish 4 from the grave to go ahead and summon a Dino from the deck. He summons Oviraptor here, which searches for a Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and at this point it doesn't matter because if I summon more, like if I summon Guardian, he's just going to run it over, so at this point it's not going to matter. And he did disconnect here, which is like just due to his internet, so I do have game 3 listed right here, so we're going to get into that right now. So I think some misplays on my part definitely did cost me the game, but it's not like 100% that I definitely would have won. Looks like he cited in a little bit of a Shadal engine, which is really interesting. So I use Elixir to go ahead and then special the Golden Lord from the deck. And much like round 1, game 1, I drew Apprentice Illusion Magician as well as Souls, so that's a little unfortunate. And I'm assuming he drew or plays lots and lots of back row removal and or just ways to break my board, and then Conquistador as well to go ahead and pop a card. So I do have 2 forms of interruption here. He normals, I pay half my life points, negate the summon. He can't do anything with the rest of this hand, so he just passes his turn. I draw, I use Souls to discard the Elixir and draw a card. Then I use the effect to set a Golden Lamp forever, and then I can normal summon, or actually it looks like I normal summon the Soul, so obviously I can't normal summon the Raiden here. He's going to attack for 25, and I'm going to pass my turn. I definitely could have probably put more damage in by linking these off into like a Phoenix or something, but then obviously that would have been playing into the Shadal Fusion. Obviously I don't know that he's playing that at this moment, but I mean, it definitely would have played into it if I did do that play. But I do think that, having these 2 interruptions are still pretty solid. So he's going to be normal summoning Oviraptor, which I probably should have negated here, but I let it go through. Then I use Conquistador to go ahead and special to pop the card, because I'm chaining to Miscellaneous Source. So the reason I do this is because pretty much the Miscellaneous Source is making the Dinosaur affected. So I'm chaining to the Miscellaneous Source to pop the Oviraptor, because there's not really a good way for me to do this at this point, right? Like if he summons Halki Fibrax, he can just use the effect to special from deck, and I could kill the Halki Fibrax, but that doesn't really do a whole lot, right? Because then he can still synchro, he can still do a lot of plays. So I just decided to kill it here. I'm not sure if that was exactly the right play, but then he uses Mist to summon the Archosaur and use the effect to pop the baby in his hand, search for Evo Pill, and then he can go ahead and special Rex from the deck. Then looks like he goes into battle phase and he kills my Souls, which is a little unfortunate, but that's fine. I take 2,000 points of damage. Then he uses the double evolution pill, banishing, which I chained the Golden Lamp forever, attributing his cost. He has to banish for cost as well, so he banishes the O-Lion and the Archosaur. And at that point, he can't really do anything, so he passes his turn. I draw a Judgment for turn, and I believe I start off with a normal of Raiden, ascending 2. And I definitely missed this Conquistador in the end phase as well, I believe. Or actually, you can only use 1 effect per turn, so I definitely didn't really miss it. Then I'm going to be using the Elixir, the Black Awakening. I believe I just milled that off of the Raiden to set a Hakero, which can banish cards from the grave, which I think could be important if he has a Conductor in this situation. And then I can't remember what just happened here. I used the Golden Lord to summon itself by sending the Hakero to the grave. Gains 1,000 attack, so it's at 3,500. I can move into the battle phase, hit him for 15. Hit him for basically 0, since it's attacking your defense position. And then 2,500, which leaves him down to 1,500. I can set this Judgment as well. And in the end phase, I go ahead and banish the Conquistador as well as the Hakero to go ahead and search for Eldlich or Spells or Traps, so I can get a Scarlet Sanguine as well as a White Destiny to basically just bring back my Golden Lords if I need to. He draws for turn, drawing into Shadal Dragon, and he scoops it at that point since he doesn't really have a whole lot of follow-up play since I could kill him. So that's going to do it for this duel, this round. And I do have another match from this round, so if you guys do want to see this, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. This is Zodiac versus Blue Eyes up at the top. So if you guys do want to see this, I believe this is a kind of a repeat match from one of the previous tournaments. I believe the second one. I can't remember which round, but I do believe that this is a repeat. If you do want to see it, it is it's a kind of interesting, but it's definitely a one-sided match. So if you guys do want to see that, let me know. And yeah, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.